This week we'll be talking about Nintendo is shutting down Smash World Tour and Panda burns. HBO's second Last of Us trailer and poster causes a little stir. Nintendo admits Pokemon Scarlet and Violet has bugs and it's not the ones you can battle with. This week we'll be playing. Jesus, wait. This week, in what we've been playing, we were talking about. Okay, I'll just do the whole thing over. This week we'll be talking about Nintendo is shutting down Smash World Tour and Panda burns. HBO's second Last of Us trailer and poster causes a stir. Nintendo admits Pokemon Scarlet and Violet has bugs and it's not the ones you can battle with. This week, in what we've been playing, we're talking about the Callisto Protocol, Need for Speed Unbound, God of War Ragnarok, all this and more on Season 6, Episode 47 of Press X to Start podcast. Do the thing. That's the thing. Comes back. What's up, everyone? I'm your host, DJ, aka Sexy Bad Choices, aka Hot Blade Cancel. That's why I am on God of War. I've nicknamed myself that. Who else is here?
I am Sean MF Ross.
What the MF stand for?
Hmm.
Oh, I see what he did there. I get it. I haven't beat the game, but I get it, guys. Who else is here?
We got Jordan, aka JXBot, aka Rydell's #1 carrier boy.
Oh, I also get that because I saw 2 hours worth of gameplay from that game. I'm in the know today. And last up we have that's Avery for all the people who are listening to this. And shame on you for listening because you should be watching this because this is also a video game the podcast thing. And in case you ain't know, Press X Star Podcast is a weekly show where we talk about the latest gaming news, review the biggest games, and give you our thoughts on the games we are playing. I have a smudge on my glasses and it's very annoying. I'm about to go raw with the eyes, guys. Our goal is to expand the video. Our goal is to expand the video game media landscape through an underserved point of view. On YouTube, as I said earlier, our gaming news breakout on Tuesday, you get the weekly what we've been playing. No, you get the what we've been playing on Thursday, and the whole thing is a podcast on Friday. Yes. So Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Make sure you check all those things. If you are listening, please do us a solid and leave us a review. Again, if you are watching, please do us another solid and like the podcast or like the video. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. You know, I stumbled through that, but I got there at the end. So just support us because we need supporting because our legs are wobbly, guys. It's very wobbly. With that being said, and you are holding us up, you can also join us in our conversations by joining our Discord at pressx2start.com/Discord. Okay. Now that's all been taken care of. You know what to do. We can finally get into this. So let us jump into the gaming news. What's up, Avery? Let us know what's happening in the wide world of gaming.
Okay, so our first story. This is first story is a series of stories of, I want to say, escalating severity. So our first story is from Kotaku.com. This is from Luke Plunkett. Nintendo shuts down Smash World Tour organizers. Organizers losing hundreds of thousands of dollars. So over the last week, the weekend of Thanksgiving, I believe the day after, I think in the dead of night, Nintendo get a press release pretty much saying, "Hey, we're canceling all our global agreements with Smash Brothers, and it's back to the old persona non grata when it comes to us having any connection to the very grassroots Smash Brothers community." There was a story that I'm not even sure how long ago it was, but it was talked about long ago that a group called Panda Global, which I believe is an esports org that's really deep into production, things like that, sort of like a Pittsburgh Knights or a Jet or a T1, were saying, "Hey, we're going to throw a Smash World Tour. We got we're partnering with Nintendo. It's going to be promoted. It's going to be its own thing." So that was sort of big and tall of it all. In which, okay, so Nintendo just shut down this thing. Now, esports are a fickle thing. Like as great as it is as a thing to get into, it is a very top heavy market. There literally is no money in esports at the bottom level, and getting at the top, it just depends on your level of esports you're going to get. So for the Smash Bros. Community, especially the Smash Bros. Melee community, who has been holding on to dear life to a game that Nintendo hasn't supported in over a decade, and
Yeah.
as far as Nintendo would they would prefer it to not exist as the Smash Brothers in the ether. They've been holding on to this game with fine tooth comb, and they've been and
Melee
Smash.
was too competitive for Nintendo's liking. So
I don't even think it's
but
that.
they won. They didn't
I do recognize that the next game, Brawl, added
Brawl.
some more casual things, but I ultimately don't think when you say competitive, you're like, oh, competitive scene. But I think that's true. I just think Nintendo as an organization isn't really into esports as a whole.
Yeah. Well, okay. I mean,
think
in terms of like Sakurai saying like
Yeah,
No,
he
Nintendo.
didn't want it
yeah,
to
I
be
know.
hyper competitive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
that,
He
but I'm
wanted to
talking
be more
about
like
the
a
disconnect. The disconnect between Melee and Nintendo is less that they see this too competitive. It's more like as the Smash Brothers brand, we would prefer to move on.
Yeah, and they're modding at Melee a lot too, and they don't like
Well,
that
that's
either.
another issue.
So
But so like
yeah,
the main conceit of this is that they've canceled this, and the Smash Brothers group up in arms. This isn't the first time they've done this. Uh, this is the only first time that they've had a written agreement with sort of the Smash Brothers organizer, and then pulled the plug. And Smash Brothers, which is a grassroots, is well, they're up in arms about this entire matter, and rightly so. A lot of people are saying, "Hey, just boycott all Nintendo." We're like, ignoring the fact that we all play Nintendo games for a living. We're not playing any other Nintendo games whatsoever. We're just straight on boycott. So there's more information in regards to this that I want to get to. This is a second story from Kotaku by Levi Winslow. Nintendo says it cares about Smash Bros. Fans as tournament dispute continues. So Nintendo came out with an explanation. They canceled it with like sort of a vague thing about why they canceled it. Then they had to come out with an explanation for why they canceled it, which pretty much comes down to like some weird things like safety and practices stuff, yada yada yada. That's ignoring that about 2-3 weeks prior, Ludwig had a big Smash tournament, as far as I can tell, in person for Melee and Ultimate. No one had any issues. So that's a thing. So what I want to talk about now is that behind all this, I mentioned Panda Global. Apparently, the CEO of Panda Global wanted to take control of the entire Super Smash Bros. Scene as a whole. He wanted full broadcasting rights on all things. He wanted every tournament to run through their own events. So he had been working behind the scenes, contacting TOs and organizers about, hey, you should be brought into the Panda World Cup. We want broadcasting rights and like that. And he may or may not have been threatening, hey, if you don't agree to this, you might get heat from Nintendo. So there's an art.
wow.
So the long and short of this all is that there are two realities to this situation. There's this cancellation of all of this was brought on by Nintendo seeing bad faith within the community, in that, hey, we've contacted this person, a reputable source, to partner with us to promote Smash Bros. Tournaments. This person has been using us and our name to essentially try and stranglehold the Smash Bros. Scene, so we're just going to pull out. That's one. The other point of view is that it's just Nintendo being Nintendo. They've never had a strong view on esports, especially esports that, because like we were
Not
talking
even
about
esports. I'd just say content creation in general.
yeah, Nintendo. No, I was trying to get to a point. I think Nintendo has a big thing about their IP and controlling their IP and having full control of their IP, and a lot of esports and essentially content creation in general is all about taking an IP and changing it. I think one of the reasons why they don't like Melee is that Melee is not an online game. To play that game online, you have to heavily mod that shit and not playing on a Nintendo console. So like,
Right.
they're not about that.
Yeah.
And then the third story, which leads credence to the whole this is from Event Hubs. Over 80% of Panda Global's sponsored fighting game team appears to have resigned so far. So this leads credence to the whole Panda working in the background to sort of undermines things, and that a lot of people, including event staff, uh, uh, people who actually work in the organization, signed players, have all pretty much said we don't want to, we're resigning from Panda. And in a world where esports is like getting signed is the bag, because once again being unsigned in FA and esports is like rough in these seats, especially when you're playing fighting games. Like that's a big thing. Another thing is that Panda was still holding a big consequence of all of this is that Smash Bros. Events are still going to be happening. They're just not going to be sponsored by Nintendo, and Nintendo has people have pretty much in the community realized that Nintendo will come after you legally if you start trying to promote their stuff. So it's become not a cost-effective thing. Tournaments were still going on, back to the old grassroots thing. A lot of Smash Bros. Competitors have essentially pulled out of all Panda events and pretty much said we're not playing any Panda tournaments at all. So as an organization, Panda is in shambles. I want to point out I'm not the most concise when it comes to being in depth with the Smash scene. So if you want a better, this is going to be a weird plug, but stick with me. If you want a better and more concise look on this, there's I mentioned Ludwig. He has a YouTube channel called Mogul Mail. He does a better breakdown of this entire event as someone who's in the community. To give you a more concise information from especially the Smash scene's side. He's also doing a thing where one of the big things at the top was when they canceled all these Smash events, the big World Cup sort of Smash event got canceled, and they invested so much money into it. It was like weeks away. He's throwing I guess, replacement tournament sometime around the same time, so that the people who are going to, so for at least a small group of the people who are going to be a part of that can get a chance to compete and things like that. So like if you're interested in Smash Bros. Content and think that and are, I guess, affected by this weird nebulous area that Smash is as a scene, he's doing his best to create another lifeline for that. So yeah.
This is a lot, yeah. Like this is a lot in such a short time, and it's one of those things where it's just Nintendo. I mean, you know, you can say like it's Nintendo being Nintendo, but we don't really know if Panda was really just kind of speaking shade in their ear to get them to uh drop the whole Smash World Cup
Yeah,
or
I may
World
have
Tour, yeah.
forgotten a detail in that the cancellation of all these events includes Panda's events as well. Like Panda lost their brand deal, so whatever they were
Oh,
doing, it's also affected
oh,
them.
it backfired them.
So, so
Oh,
like I
okay.
can't necessarily say, oh, it's Panda being Panda, because there is
Yeah.
more credence to Nintendo being Nintendo in this.
Yeah, okay. Well, that changes a lot of stuff. Yeah. Yeah, okay, that's that well, that just sucks, and that sucks entirely then. Um, yeah, I don't it's a shame because, as you were saying, Avery, like, Melee is, for lack of better words, just a defunct property where you
It's a
can
dead.
just play
Well,
with your friends.
it's a dead product, and frankly, a dead esport that's been on life support for
Yeah,
years.
yeah, and, like, I mean, yeah, I guess, people can just throw their own stuff and hope that Nintendo doesn't come after them. Even Nintendo will be most likely coming after them. But
Well, that's the
yeah,
interesting thing
man,
about the
it just
yeah, that's the
sucks.
interesting thing about the Ludwig thing. He's pretty much in the
Yeah.
Mogul Mel I was talking about. He threatens Nintendo and said, "Come at me, bro." Because essentially, if they go after Ludwig, one of the biggest streamers on YouTube, that's a conversation they can't keep quiet. And that's a conversation I don't think they
Yeah,
want to have.
that's a good point. That yeah, right. Oh boy. Nintendo might send Mario personally to his house.
Stop on them.
But yeah, that I don't know. Yeah. I mean, we'll see what comes of this, I doubt Nintendo is going to change their mind or their stance on this, and nothing positive will probably come from this other than we just kind of just figure out what happens next. I don't know. No idea. Y'all care about this? Sean, Jordan?
No, it's good.
Nay, sir.
It was cool listening to it. You know, I mean, yeah. Smash Brothers drama. You can't go 6 months without it.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I mean, it could be worse,
Yes.
considering
yeah,
what we've read before.
Mhm.
yeah,
There is the whole Evo of it all, where one of the reasons Smash is not in Evo is Nintendo's like, we're no longer allowing this game to be taking place at Evo because of the rampant misconduct within the FGC community around that. So
yeah.
yes.
yeah.
Whoa.
And
Yeah.
Nintendo doesn't want to do their own
They
thing
don't
because
they don't necessarily give a shit about
exactly,
esports as a company.
yeah, and they'd probably say
They will
it's just a waste of
throw
money.
small competitions. I know the Pokemon company does a lot of esports like events and things like that, but Nintendo proper is never going to come out with like
Yeah.
esports ready game.
Yeah. Yep.
We live in a world where they made three Splatoons with a heavy competitive mode and have really done nothing in regards to promoting it as a esport event.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Mhm.
All right. Well, what's next? What's happening next?
Well, our next we have a duology of video game film news and content. We got two big trailers, both from HBO and speaking of Nintendo on the Super Mario trailer. The Well, I'm just gonna pull up the story. This is from VGC. This is from I want to say Andy Robinson. They released the second Last of Us trailer. This is very much a actual trailer and not a teaser. It pretty much gives you the rundown if you don't know what Last of Us is about. Hey, here's Last of Us. Here's the plot of the thing. We get more Bella Ramsey talking, and she does a fantastic job of embodying Ellie. We got more Pedro Pascal in it doing his "I'm just going to do Joel," which is fantastic. The big question mark I had with this series was, okay, where is the cutoff mark on this series going to be? At what point are they going to try and turn HBO this and try and turn it into a marketable, like long-term franchise? And this trailer pretty much indicates that they're telling all of up until the end of the game in the show, which I think is really good with a lot of little expanded things which are interesting. There is a not weird because it's a bad term. There's a new seems to be subplot with a Native American group in the middle of this trailer that has no bearing in the game. That's brand new content. There seems to be they talked about adding new content, and Neil Druckmann, who's working on the game, working on the show, has talked about they're going to add content they wanted to do for Last of Us, but couldn't put in there for various reasons. There's a sequence. There's a sequence with a bloater at the end of the game, and if you remember in the end of the trailer, and if you remember the game, a bloater doesn't show up till you're in Billstown for the first time, and it doesn't get that marketing sequence. So that's clearly a change to it. They also
Is that in the gym?
Yeah, in the gym is the first time we see a bloater,
Okay.
and then they don't really get big like bloater sequences later. Like they're just kind of enemies in the world that make certain sequences a lot tougher. Like I remember there should be one under in the when you're dealing with the looters in the city. There's one in like an underground section where you need a gym thing. I think there's another couple in like not gym in an underground sequence with a building with a generator. There we go. There's a
Generator, yeah.
There is I think one or two in like a college dorm, and then I know there's like a couple of them in a big tunnel as you're getting to the final sequence of the game. That's as far as I can remember. Bloater appearances. They're clearly mixing matching those sections there. Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson have been both said to be in the show playing roles, and this is a big ass spoiler if you don't give it in regards. Troy Baker is playing a character who I forget his name, but he was the villain David's sidekick from the games. So he's playing a named Last of Us character. So he's playing a cannibal, and then Ashley Johnson in a sequence that I don't think they should have put in this trailer. She's clearly playing Ellie's mother because it's Ashley Johnson holding an infant child. We as a community are just inferring that's Ellie's mother, and so there's that. Ellie's mother didn't really have any bearing in the actual narrative beyond her relationship with Marlene and why Marlene cares about Ellie to begin with. But it seems to me they may be going in a route to explore more content in that manner. And then, like I was talking about how I didn't know where they were going to do the show. And when they were not, when they earlier before they released the trailer, because this is all they're doing this all at the Brazilian CinemaCon right now. There's a lot of big pop culture stuff being revealed there, and they released a bunch of character
Which
posters.
is weird, right? That's the first because I don't ever really remember
No, they've been
Brazilian.
brilliant. Brazil, like
Yeah.
as far as I know, of pop culture and entertainment, Brazil has been a pretty big scene for I saw them, like, remember the last
Oh.
5 or 6 years. So like this,
Oh,
like the
okay.
Brazilian con isn't new to me. It's just like I wasn't expecting it to be where they revealed this stuff here, especially with Game
Yeah.
Awards like in a week from now.
Yeah.
And yeah. But I guess if
Yeah.
you're trying to not, if you're trying not to get, in the context of you're trying not to attract gamers and trying to attract normal people, that is the
Mhm.
better venue.
That's a
Yeah.
good point. Okay.
So everyone's
Uh,
how did everyone feel about the trailer?
So I somehow missed the fact that the trailer was live, so I actually just saw it before we recorded this, and it looks really good. It looks like Last of Us, and it looks uh scary, not scary and like oh my god spooky, but like scary in how well Last of Us translate into a on-screen property like this.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then even at the end that what Avery's talking about with the bloater like coming up, like that was a really cool scene. Like I'll be interested to see what that looks like in the actual show. But like the little cut they show is like it's really cool. It's like, oh, this is like a boss fight that's about to happen. It's like, oh, interesting. Interesting.
I'm
I
just
think
excited that
last.
we're getting it so soon.
Yeah, that too.
Go ahead, Jordan.
No, no, right. No, I think The Last of Us is gonna fill the void that's gonna be left by The Walking Dead now that Walking Dead's coming to an end, and my dad who
Mm.
has no
Is
agency.
Walking Dead coming to an end?
No,
Well,
I mean,
actually,
I'm
no,
not.
because
I'm
they're doing
not.
like a Daryl and the
There's many spinoffs, but my dad who
yeah.
has no agency towards like that video game type stuff, as a good
Mm,
amount of the market is for the most part in terms of viewers. If you're looking for a zombie, we're gonna have a pretty good HBO zombie for you.
there
And I
you
think
go.
that we are also in a interesting point in video game and multimedia space, to which like how beholden is the TV property to the video game property. Because what we just went through was Halo, and Halo was very decisive. I thought it was
Mm,
fine, but there's a whole bunch of division in Halo. But we've seen so many periods throughout the last 20 years of video games being in movies and television shows and it not landing. But as of recent, it feels that producers and directors and writers are starting to understand, like, you make it your own, you want to borrow, but not emulate too much. And also you want to do a good job too. Because if you don't do a
yeah.
good job, you'll get, hit up from all sides. So I'm fairly excited, and I think we're in the borderline golden era of multimedia video game stuff. Right? That's the best I
So I
can
mean,
put it.
is it possible that Last of Us will be the best video game adaptation into a TV show?
No, because Arcane exists.
Oh yeah, okay, good point.
Mm.
It's but I think Last of
Yeah.
Us is the only one actually ignoring Arcane. Last of Us is the only live action video game property that I've seen like trailers. I've seen production and trailers on, and never had any question in my doubt that this is going to be at least a good show. Like every other show I've ever looked at, I've been excited because, oh man, I'm a fan of this property and look at the cool things they're bringing out. But there's always been a question of, is this going to work? Like Jordan was talking about how Halo was fine. I fucking hated Halo, and a lot of this divisiveness comes from, I think, to his point about how do we adapt the thing? Do we just do it one for one, or do we try and do something new? And I think the issue with video game adaptations is what audience are you making this for? Are you making it
Right.
for the video game audience, or are you making it for people who don't care about the game? And most people have not figured that out. With Last of Us, to the point of Last of Us being such a strong games like Last of Us are such strong story games that you don't need to do anything to change. You don't really have to do much to change anything, if that makes sense. You can tell the story for last. Yeah, you can adapt it one for one and expand it to a television medium and still retain the same same sort of feel and world of the story. There's it's easier translation. With a thing like Halo suffered from the fact that the story of Halo is an afterthought of the games. The world of Halo isn't, but the actual narrative of the games when you're playing them is sort of an afterthought to get you to more challenging fighting encounters and fighting encounters. So when they had to adapt that, they're like, all right, we gotta do something. And then Halo is also guilty of having a faceless, motionless protagonist. So like we also have to try and do something with Chief. And as a result, they created a character who I guess you can call him Master Chief, but doesn't feel like the Master Chief that most people encounter. So you immediately get
until the very end. To the very end.
So you got most video
games.
Yeah. None of these guys aren't going to watch Halo, but they're like,
what do you mean, me?
Are you going to get Paramount Plus?
No, not kidding.
You get to the you get a character who doesn't feel like Chief, but then you get to traditional people and they're like, oh, this just feels like okay sci-fi. And we're in a golden era of television where you can't just be okay and live off your laurels unless you hit a zeitgeist, if that makes sense. And like, it's interesting.
Yeah. The last thing I want to say before we jump to the next thing would be, after this, I think it'd be interesting to have a conversation about what could happen with the Horizon show and the speculative
God of War.
We can have this conversation now. I have no faith in either of the properties. Actually, I have a little faith in the Amazon property because I know if Amazon's committed to something, they are willing to give it a bag, so at least it looks fantastic. And that
God of War looks like Rings of Power, like
if they can get it to at least 75% of Rings of Power, I'll be fine about it. Horizon, I have no faith in Netflix doing a big robot dinosaur story.
Yeah. It's going to be a very small robot dinosaur story.
No, you're going to get maybe a minute or two of CGI robot dinosaurs that they can figure out, but it's mostly going to be Aloy and the continuation of brown people in bad cosplay armor talking to each other in the same set over and over and over again.
Fun time.
Oh, man. Right.
Upsetting.
So what's not upsetting, Avery?
The next I brought this from the Hollywood Reporter. The Super Mario Brothers second trailer reveals first look at Princess Peach and Donkey Kong. This is from Carly Thomas. So also we got the Nintendo Super Mario Brothers trailer. And in the same vein of how I felt about Last of Us, this is how I feel about a big budget animated version of a video game property. This movie, from a narrative standpoint, could possibly be bad. Like, it's a strong chance. But I look at this movie and I'm like, they get the assignment when it comes to Super Mario Brothers and trying to adapt this into a world. And I love the entire vibe of this trailer. The trailer gives you context of Mario and Luigi are people from a New Donk City kind of world. Mushroom Kingdom in itself is a separate world altogether. It's a fish out of water story. There's a big deviation of narrative in that this is a game where you're rescuing Luigi, and Princess Peach is a capable woman who doesn't seem to be any
damsel in distress.
Damsel in distress. We had
and the internet hates it.
Without being misogynistic, I can understand in the context of narratively Mario as a character and everyone's perception of him versus narratively Princess Peach and the perception of her, and how the trailer really portrays Mario as a bumbling fish out of water. And up until I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt narratively till before I judge it. But I don't want to watch this movie about Mario sucks and he doesn't suck till the very end. So I'm waiting, giving them the benefit of the doubt of doing that narratively. They also clarified some cosmology about the Mushroom Kingdom, and that this is a movie that had to adapt the Mushroom Kingdom and what that means, and did a good job. This isn't like I'm gonna throw another shade to another property. This isn't like I saw that I'm gonna do this other shade because I'm in the middle of this rant. I watched the Sonic trailers and like, man, decisions were made. Like the Sonic movies are good to okay movies, but if you're a Sonic fan, it's like, why is this even a Sonic movie? Why is this even a Sonic movie?
I love the Sonic.
But this first it was Halo, now it's Sonic.
No, I'm strong. I think both are better. Well, no, I think Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 are better than they ever deserve to be. but fucking
Mm.
if you're like, I don't want to call myself a Sonic fan. It's like they tried to do the least amount of Sonic that they could to make those movies, which is
Yeah.
which is in thing with this Mario. Like we're not ashamed of this. There's gonna be a world where there's fucking Toad people, Goombas, all that. It's like they're
Yeah.
doing the assignment in terms of being an origin to the Mario world and conflating all of that. And then not only just being an origin to the Mario world, being an origin through, I guess, Nintendo's shared universe of properties in that there's some Smash Brothers, there's some Mario Kart, there's like
Yeah.
Donkey Kong, there's like the original Donkey Kong and stuff in there. Like they're like Donkey Kong 64 and stuff in there. Like they're doing everything they can, which is my only knock against this trailer. Is that they may be doing too much, and we'll see how all of that works together in concert with their Mario plot going forward. But yeah,
Yeah.
this is a really fantastic trailer.
Yeah, like I'm all on the same lines as you, Avery, and I also agree. Like at the end of the trailer, I was just like, wow, this is a lot of stuff that they showed in this one trailer, and I absolutely loved it. Like uh, the fire flower, the field of fire flowers, and when Peach grabbed the fire and her outfit changed, I was like, yes, like that is so dope. But yeah, like at the same time, there's a lot happening here, and the hope is it all works together in the movie very good or very well. So yeah, I'm excited for that, and I'm definitely gonna see it. I showed Shireen the trailer, and she was less impressed, and I was like, "How dare you? I'm not even that big of a Mario. You're a bigger Mario person than me. Like, what's wrong?" And
But okay, so
she
that is the
was
point about Mario and what they have to do, because everyone knows about Mario as a character.
Yeah.
But this is a deep dive on every aspect of the Mario lore. And does the wider non-video game audience give a shit about like that one level from Mario World, which is
Mm,
what this movie sort of selling it's on? So you get that weird disconnect of, oh, this is cool, but like I don't care about any of this.
right, or
Like you
even
got,
Rainbow Road.
yeah, you got me seeing a Rainbow Road going like, oh, this is dope. But you're like,
Yeah,
if you didn't play like, if you haven't played any of the Mario Karts, you're like, okay, cool, this is woke.
that's
Yeah,
true.
Why you gotta be a Rainbow Road?
This is
From a gamer perspective, I did chuckle when I'm hearing this orchestrated Mario thing at the
Yeah.
end of it. I was like, that's funny.
Also,
yeah.
this is an unpopular opinion. I really like Chris Pratt's Mario voice.
Bitsy.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
That's fine.
didn't bother me. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it doesn't bother me because I don't really think of Mario in like as a character that's really had a voice. I mean, yeah, he
Yeah.
has a voice, but he's not really like he's not feeding you lines through the game. Like he's just jumping and stomping on heads. Like that's kind of the thing that he does. He throws a hat sometimes.
They're
Maybe
running into the
spins.
same issue that the Halo production has. We have to turn Mario into a character, so we sort of need an actor to do this. The only thing is Halo tried it to be Halo went the more traditional storytelling route, while Nintendo is giving sort of a carte blanche because they never really defined who Mario was. So this is,
Right.
I guess, an easier thing for them to do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he's a
And that was
doctor
actually
slash plumber slash driver slash artist slash tennis pro.
Entrepreneur. He's just an entrepreneur.
Carpenter.
It's literally Mario LLC.
Right.
All the services.
That's true. All right. Well, before we get into more Nintendo news about Pokemon, hey, listener, how you doing? You enjoying this conversation? Wonderful. We are glad that you are here listening to us talk. Okay, so do us another thing. Can you hit that like button? Because we know you're watching this. So just hit that like button. And then subscribe to the channel because we need your subscription. Actually, we got two more subscriptions. I don't have the names on me. I need to pull that up. But they're there. We appreciate you guys for joining us and listening to us and being part of our journey to rule the world or something like that. Um oh, I didn't even finish the things that you should do with the YouTube video. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, and then hit the notification bell. That last part is very important, so make sure you do that. And then if you are listening to us and you're not listening to us, or no, if you're listening to us and you're not watching us, for one, how dare you? How dare you? For two, leave us a review then. Just leave us a review. Pause the podcast you're listening to and just leave us a review. That's all you gotta do. And then unpause it. Because that'd be weird if you just left it pause and continue with your life. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. Again, we need your subscriptions, we need your likes because it will keep us breathing on the internet. All right, Avery, what's happening?
Okay, so we had a conversation last week about Nintendo and their in regard to how they would be dealing with the bad performance of Pokemon, and we both came at it from two sides. Where DJ's like, "This is so unacceptable; they're going to have to do something," and I'm like, "It's a Nintendo; they're not going to do much of anything." So this is a story from John Walker, not the MCU John Walker, got John Walker that works at Kotaku. Nintendo finally acknowledges the buggy mess of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So this was first going to be me coming in being like, "Oh, mea culpa. I'm sorry. DJ was right about this entire matter." And then I read the thing and I'm like, "Wait, this doesn't really say anything."
Right.
So the message, so they acknowledge. So we got a big patch 1.10, which seems to fix some actual like competitive interaction bugs in the game, but doesn't seem
Very
to.
minor. It's very minor for like the grand scheme of Pokemon players.
Which is
which yeah.
my big thing, and this is why I'm like, I'm not eating crow and being wrong. Is that if you look at the patch notes, they're non-existent. They don't tell you what they're fixing, what this means, whether they're going to keep doing this in the future, or whether they're just going to wait for like DLC updates to add minor tweaks every once in a while and not fix this game with the fundamental needs it actually legitimately needs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So looking at one
So
of the bugs is literally saying an issue has been fixed that caused the music not to play correctly during the battles with the Elite Four and a top five and a top champion in the Victory Road path. A musical
yeah.
bug is what they chose.
So that bug fix sheet screams of a company who is not familiar with doing stuff like this, and it's just kind of like, I, that's the thing that we fixed, guys. Like that's it, and it definitely feels like this is a first for them, and I don't think this is going to be the last patch that we get before. I don't know. I'll say until before March or whatever. Like I think that Nintendo is going to be on Pokemon Company's butt with this because like Nintendo is very much so about the quality of their like first party games. And I consider
Yeah.
Pokemon a first party game, even though it's like a weird like Pokemon Company Game Freak Nintendo thing.
Partnership.
Yeah, yeah. But like it's still, Pokemon is exclusive to Nintendo. So it's still like a first party thing. And I feel like this is a start. Like Nintendo doesn't usually do something like this, especially for Pokemon. Like they never had to do this for like Sword and Shield, even though Sword and Shield had their issues. So this feels like not the last patch we're gonna get for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So
I agree that
we'll
this
see.
isn't going to be the last patch for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. However, I fundamentally think the state of this game is going to be semi the same by the time the next Pokemon game comes out. I think the Pokemon Company as a group is going to focus on DLC for this game if they plan to do it, because we saw DLC for Sword and Shield. And they're going to be focusing on whatever the next mainline Pokemon game is. I think this game, to Sean's point about last week, sold way too much. Like,
See, like that's okay. So I'm just gonna interrupt you because I think that's one thing that I don't I don't see the connection between the game selling well and the company like, "Oh, the game's fine." Like, the game is not fine. Nintendo knows the game is not fine. The game sold well because a majority audience don't care about reviews. They
that's
just
my
know that
thing.
it's Pokemon.
That's why I'm talking
Yeah,
when I bring up the sales. I'm talking about the majority of the audience. Like, this isn't a game where we're getting, "Oh, this game is fundamental." This isn't a Cyberpunk situation where people are
right.
screaming at
Yeah.
the silos that this game is broken and we want our money back. This is a situation where people are like, "Oh, this game is broken. We're fine with it."
I don't know if we're fine with it though. I think the
I
game. I
think
think if Nintendo never said anything, I
Yeah.
could believe the thing like, oh, they're fine with it. But Nintendo's like, hey, look, we are aware of the performance issues. Will the performance issues get fixed? I don't know. I don't even think Game Freak is capable of doing that level of like fixing for their games. Like I just don't. It's because this is their pseudo like second big uh open world game kind of thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
you have to build up the staff to even support games like this. And just to see how this launched in like the performance issues that are happening. It definitely screams like you guys definitely are missing like a good chunk of people to actually be able to.
I think if we're talking about Nintendo proper, this is an organization who shipped a game with a game-breaking bug, and then when the game sold, they're like, "We're not going to fix the bug. Just send us your copy, and we'll patch in a
Are you talking
new
about Super
save.
Metroid or whatever,
Yeah,
or Metroid Prime?
patch in your save, and we'll just keep it moving." So I don't. With I think with in a game
Oh
with
wait, wait! Wasn't that was GameCube, right?
Yeah.
Did
They,
they?
like, yeah, send
They
in
didn't
your
have internet though.
the GameCube had internet.
They did, yeah.
Did yeah, okay.
Yeah,
alright.
it was
I
in
mean,
that
you had to buy
generation.
the adapter.
Yeah,
But
it was in that
Yeah,
generation
yeah.
where they could do that.
And Ethan.
And to that other point is when they're selling more copies of the game and they know it's a game breaking bug, they didn't fix those other copies. They just we're not going to print any fixed copies. We're going to move on. And anyone who's going to see this bug, just send in your disk, send in your save file, and we're going to patch it around that. I think very much that Nintendo as a company, even like I don't think they have the track record to be like fixing this game and making it 100% stable is something that they traditionally handle. Like
Yeah,
I would be shocked. Like this is me being like this is not even saying you're wrong. This is me being I would be fucking shocked if
Yeah.
in a month we got hey guys, here's Pokemon Company, Switch Snap. Here's a list of bugs we just fixed that we're pumping out, guys. What I see what's most likely is hey, we're updating the Pokedex with X, Y, and Z. Also, minor stability things like that. They're not going to talk about these bugs if they're going to fix them in any way, shape, or form.
I don't think we're going. I don't think Game Freak is going to fix the game to the point where it's like 90% of the stuff is like fixed
yeah.
and it's working. I think it's going to be like 70% of the stuff is like fine, and 70% of stuff is just minor bugs. And the person that is 10 feet behind you, you might be able to see them for a little longer before they blink out of existence. Like I think that's into my mind, that's the bar I think they're going to try to hit, just for the fact that this is Nintendo and they don't really they don't have the they don't have the experience with bug fixes, as you were saying about Metroid Prime. Like, yeah, like, they're not great with this. So that's been kind of my thought
I
process.
think
And like,
yeah, you
it,
were right that they were going to acknowledge it for the level of what it is. I still don't think that we're going to get like especially with the way this read and the way they're addressing the bugs and patches and the one that they chose to focus on that they're really interested in like being holistic in this game's lifespan beyond
yeah.
what they can actually update to the game itself. Like I said, if they're going to release patches to this game, it's going to be bundled in like DLC and or more Pokemon being added to its already limited decks.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, I see. We can do the Elden Ring thing.
No, we don't have
You
time.
want you
No,
Okay.
we
Okay, cool.
like
Cool.
we're at 40. We're at around 40 minutes, and you
Good
want to
point.
talk about 3 or 4 big games that just came out.
That's a good point. Okay. All right. Well, and that has been our show of Press X to Start podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoy making it. Don't forget to like the video. Please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Don't forget to leave us a great review because we greatly appreciate it. Oh, Jesus, it looks all smudgy on my thing. And just do us a solid because we need your support, and your support will keep our legs from being real wobbly to less wobbly. So do that. If you missed any of the stuff we talked about, you can find all of our podcasts and more on our website at pressx2start.com. You be safe. You have a great day. You watch the Game Awards because we're gonna watch the Game Awards and we're gonna react to it. And you're going to, well, are we gonna react to it? We'll probably react to it. We're gonna react
Maybe.
to it. We'll figure that out. Yeah. Um. Yeah, and you be safe and you play some games. Take care. Have a good day. Antoine, you stomp.
Antoine got
Uh,
stomped. That's what I heard.
right? Antoine, no.
That's his
Jeez.
47.
Yeah, that is 47.
Cool.
Stop that bad boy. And then